Michael LePorte back with you on the Rural Radio Network, and we have with us Chris Novak. He's the new CEO of the National Corn Growers Association, but it's a familiar name, Chris, having served for how long with the Pork Board?
I was with the National Pork Board for 6 years, but I've got about 10 years of grain experience in my past, so this is still a homecoming for me.
A month on the job, and you're kind of being baptized by fire here at NAFB.
Well, I think the biggest challenge for us right now is looking ahead at yet another record crop and realizing our responsibility to build demand for this corn industry so that we can ensure that we've got profit opportunities for our producers in the years ahead.
So how do we do that? Obviously, we were thinking that what we had in place a year ago looked pretty good with the price of corn, but today we're beginning to question whether that all works.
Well, we know that we've got three primary markets out there. The first is ethanol that uses about 35% of our crop. We've got a livestock industry, and then additionally trade, which is a smaller part of our portfolio, but each and every one of those markets is critical to corn farmers, and so we're going to be working certainly to protect the renewable fuel standard and ensure that there's a continued opportunity for ethanol in the marketplace. But we're also going to be working with our friends in the livestock industry to ensure that we can help build and support a strong livestock industry here in the U.S. because we know that the global opportunity for protein is only continuing to increase.
So really, you coming from the pork side of things into the grain side of things, really kind of a perfect fit.
It has been, and certainly as I went through the interview process, as I've talked to the leaders on the corn board, they recognize the importance of the livestock industry. We've seen the growth in corn demand coming from the ethanol side, and so certainly that's been a major part of our focus and our investment within NCGA. And yet the challenge is, we just need to continue to find ways to move yet one more bushel, and whether that bushel is going to a livestock farmer, whether it's going to an international grain customer overseas, or whether it's going to an ethanol plant, doesn't really matter as long as we can continue to support and build that demand for what's going to be a 14.4 billion bushel corn crop this year.
Chris, one of the very emotional debates, it seems, out there that people like to pick up on is the food versus fuel, and it has some resonance with consumers. How do we get over that hump where we finally say, listen, this isn't a conflict?
I think what we're showing this year and what we showed last year hopefully will demonstrate to so many of our customers and consumers that it doesn't have to be a question of food versus fuel. It can be a question of food and fuel together. And the reality is 14.4 billion bushel crop this year. As we look ahead at the potential gains in productivity that we would expect corn farmers to make, that crop will continue to grow. And so there is a commitment that this industry has made. There was a goal set of 15 billion bushels of corn, 15 billion gallons of ethanol by 2015. And certainly as we close 2014 with yet another record crop, we're coming extremely close to that goal. That is a commitment to say we're going to provide the amount of corn that's necessary to meet all demands, food, fuel, industrial uses, as well as to serve international customers.
Maintaining the RFS, how important is that to this equation?
It's absolutely critical, and it's critical in the short term, certainly as we look at where we need to see ethanol this year, looking into 2015 and to 2016. In the long term, our goal is to help consumers understand that ethanol as a renewable fuel choice, ethanol as an environmentally friendly fuel choice, will reduce greenhouse gases 50% with the use of ethanol as compared to gasoline. As we're having new discussions about climate change, that use and that ability to access renewable fuels is important to consumers. Ethanol is helping from a price standpoint as we look at fueling opportunities, fuel choices for consumers. And so all of those things are going to help us build consumer demand long term, but ensuring that EPA follows the law and implements the RFS correctly is a critical short-term priority for our corn farmers.
The fact that we've had gasoline prices going down and crude oil going down, is that positive or negative for ethanol?
I think at the end of the day, we have to look at the price of corn as the feedstock for ethanol. And so as the price of corn has come down from $6 and $8 down to $3, $3.50, that's going to drop our cost to produce ethanol. And so all of these things are staying somewhat constant, somewhat proportional, and I think we're probably at a neutral point right now.
You know, I think a lot of people are jealous of the fact that, ethanol has been such a success story, and that's not the only one that you guys have had. So I guess the question is, what is the next ethanol on your agenda?
I think, at this point in time, certainly there is a lot of focus, but as we look ahead, the international market opportunity is going to continue to grow, continue to be strong. Is there another renewable product out there in the marketplace that will be the next area for corn demand growth? Certainly that's possible. NCGA hosts a conference every other year to look at new uses of corn. There's always new products showing up at that corn utilization conference, and so we'll continue to invest in identifying those things. There's nothing in the pipeline today that's going to, though, drive corn demand the way that we need to for corn farmers.
We appreciate the update. Chris Novak, he's the new CEO of the National Corn Growers Association. Had the chance to visit with him at the recent Farm Broadcasters Convention in Kansas City. For the Rural Radio Network, I'm Mike LePorte.